Right, so we're at the Hare and Hounds in Sutton Coldfield, and we've just met with the Veterans Ministers, given a big presentation here. So I'm here with
the founder of the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Clubs organisation,
and also
Tracy. So I've been strong-armed into coming in on behalf of Dereck and making sure that there is a breakfast club within this area that's got the right kind of support moving forwards for anybody coming in to see us.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that everyone knows or has heard of the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Clubs and how vital. Because it's at the coalface, isn't it? It's the front end. Seeing the veterans, giving them some food, and then what comes out after that you can support with. But how did you manage to get the Veterans Minister down here?
I think that was more to do with Chad Maskell, who's from the Veterans Housing Group. So he had a contact with him, and asked him to come along for the launch of this breakfast club. So and it was very good of him to come and good to see him here.
Yeah. And what did you think about what he said? Obviously, I did ask him if I could record it, but he said no because he can be more personal. Yeah. So what did you reckon? I know you asked him a question.
Yeah, I did ask him a couple of questions. Obviously, vested interest in the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Clubs and what sort of support they would get. But a lot of that comes via the Armed Forces Covenant Champions. So every local authority in the country has signed the Armed Forces Covenant now, which means that the conditions of that is that they provide an Armed Forces Covenant Champion who is supposed to be the direct link between any veterans in that constituency, that parish, back to the local authority. So instead of veterans ringing up the local authority and trying to find the best person to deal with a local council-ish problem that they're perhaps having, they're supposed to be able to just ring the single point of contact, the Covenant Champion. Yeah. The problem with that is it's a bit of a postcode lottery. For a start, none of them have got a job description, which we found out. We're now trying from at our level to push that an actual job description out to every local authority in the country so that vets can benefit from actually having a Covenant Champion. In some places don't even know who they are, and they're not responding, which makes it's an added problem for veterans that are living in that area. So that was one of the questions I put to him, and obviously he's talking about Op Valor, which is something that the Office of Veterans Affairs is going to get into to actually try and get that sort of thing sorted out. So and we've also made a presentation to him today because, as I pointed out, there's a lot of veterans around that feel like he's less of a minister and more one of us, a veteran himself, which he is.
I think that's what people forget, that as he said, what was it? He's done 22 years as a Marine or an officer, and only a year in Parliament. So he is actually a veteran more than he is anything else.
Yeah. So that's what everybody's hoping for, that somebody like him, a member of Parliament and a minister, has more of a vested interest in the issues that we have with veterans than perhaps what it looks like politically.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And what a launch for an opening day of an Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club. It's pretty incredible. How'd you beat it?
I'm not sure, but I think we're up to a challenge anytime. So if we can think we can do bigger and better, we definitely will.
Yeah. So if you want to just give us obviously I said the Hare and Hounds in Sutton Coldfield. Yeah. But what days are you going to be running? Where can people find more information?
Okay, so the breakfast clubs do have an overall page on Facebook as well, and other different.
There's a website, www.afvbc.world, where you sign in with your email address, and you can find the details of any breakfast club in the country. You can also sign in if you're wife of, son of, daughter of, father of, so you're not necessarily a veteran, but it will ask you to confirm if you are a veteran or not. Then you can find the details of your local club and go along, and this is going to be one of them. So it's currently called North Birmingham, but I think it's more appropriate to be called Sutton Coldfield.
That was another thing we really did want to try and get in today as well. That we're now at a brand new venue. This is a brand new relaunch of our club. It will have a name change, so we will become Sutton Coldfield as well. But at the moment, if you are on Facebook and that, you can find us there at Birmingham North Armed Forces Breakfast Clubs. So then you can send a join request for the group, and then all the information you need will be there. Dates will be posted later today of each time that we have a meeting as well. And then if there's any questions or anything like that, drop us a message over and we will do our very best to make sure we get back to you.
One thing you need to bear in mind, we're free.
Yeah.
There's no commitments, there's no, you don't, when you come here you wouldn't have to sign up or commit to anything, no apologies necessary. You turn up as and when you want to, as you need it, and it's basically, it's breaking bread with other veterans, people of the same ilk, the same ideology.
Getting that camaraderie back,
exactly.
I think, is what we've all
It's
missed
the
to some
naffy,
extent.
The mess, the cookouts, the squadron bar, the company bar, all rolled into one. That's basically what it is.
So if you're in the North Birmingham or even further away, come down, check it out, because I'll tell you what, the food looked amazing. I didn't actually have any, but it looked amazing.
Well, steak and eggs.
What more could you go wrong?
Absolutely. And massive thank you to the venue for today as well. You know, that they've been very supportive and they will continue to be so as well. So we will be here every month.
Excellent. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much.
Chad Maskell, friend of the muster point, and I've heard you're the man behind getting Al Carns down to the Hare and Hounds today in Sutton Coldfield. How did you manage it?
Well, it went by gunpoint. No, do you know what? It was sort of one of those where, I knew one of the founders, or the founder of the Breakfast Club, and they reached out to me and said, look, our club's, it's basically dormant, hasn't done anything for a while. Do you want to take it on board around everything else you do? And I thought, well, yeah, why not? 2 weeks later, we get his PR team, they just randomly reach out. Now, bearing in mind, I've been trying to get hold of this guy for the last sort of 6 to 9 months. He just landed, really. So, yeah, I mean, I just called everybody I could, trying to bring as many as I could to it, and it's sort of poetry in motion, mate.
And how did you, I mean, he was quite open and honest.
I think it went really well. I've been a little bit more... I'm quite an apprehensive person. I mean, you know me, so, I can normally dissect anyone within 3 minutes of just standing in front of me. But I don't envy his position because, his job is not going to be 4 years. We're talking 8, 12 years at least. He's going into creating the foundations, which I think is epic, so that the rug can't be pulled away, which I think is one of the most critical parts. But I mean, I'm involved in all the intricacies, all the complexities, all the finance, the development, like all of that policy, like that's my world, but that's almost too much for him right now. So, but I understand his logic to it now. Before I was, I don't want to say I was, well, no, sorry, I was a little bit reluctant because Up Valor, I pitched that about 3.5 years ago because it was almost standard, but by them centralising it, because ours was around our hubs. We put the same concept through our hubs where it would almost pay for itself. But with Valor getting government behind it, it's almost like it's enforced to then get the smartest part of this, and how hard it is for me to get into the directorates to get them to track data. I can't make them track data, so I can then pull the boys and girls out of housing benefit and everything else.
Yeah.
He can. So if that's what he's going to do, and he's going to hold them accountable, and then put the weight on, because everyone's got to put the squeeze.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? To get the answers that you need. You know what it's like. People will tell you one thing, and then they do bugger all later. So he's creating that. So those councils that are not on board and that brush it aside and don't pay attention to it, I now understand that he's going to track data. It's kind of like me. I'm data, right? So now I know he's got that focus. You can then draw down on data to create the pathways necessary. So speaking to him, I know I went a bit around the houses there, mate, but looking at the colour of his eyes, he does what he says, and I'm not blowing smoke. Proof's in the delivery, but he seems like a genuine guy. Everyone I know that knows him, speak highly of him. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm non-political, you know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm just about my boys and
veterans.
girls, the veterans.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't care what party you are, just as long as you're a good person and you're a veteran, I'll do what I can. So, and he's very much around that mentality. I get it. He's almost duck out of water, coming into a world where it's so incredibly complex. Like he could have literally rode the sails. You know what I mean? He got to that level. Do you know what I mean? Look at his record. He's a swinging D, so he could have literally rode it up, brigadier upwards, job done.
Easy life.
Yeah, exactly. What a pension, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he could have sat back and done that, and he's steady threw himself into the lion's den, which I think's mental. But that just pretty much shows his character, I guess. And again, I'm not blowing smoke, but he doesn't mess around. He's about getting things done, and I'm hopeful. Look, there's not many politicians that have the weight. In fact, I've met no politician that has the weight with his military background behind them ever.
Yeah.
And I've been in this game a long time. So see somebody like that, and then, do you know what I mean? Gauge
Yeah.
him, see what he's about, see what he's doing. You know, I'm always watching. You know, like I'm there in the tree outside your house. Hey, Marlon, watch. I don't know why I went Irish.
But no, I get that feeling.
Yeah.
He's got passion. It's personal, and as always, I think veterans have been let down so many times before that we wait with bated breath. But I certainly feel there's an air of feeling different maybe this time.
But look, this is a marathon, mate. This isn't a sprint. We're talking decades and decades and decades of issues and problems where, you know, government have just sort of brushed it off. They send our boys and girls to war, and then once they come back, they're like, you know, just get a grip, test and adjust, crack on. And it's like, yeah, we can do that for a period of time, put it in a box, but sooner or later we have to open that freaking box, and then that's it, game over. So that's where things like guys go into prison, you know, people go into dark places, the suicide, the challenging family issues. There's a whole ricochet of stuff. But each one of those are complex cases that go into different types of remits that involve different types of sectors and different types of funding. It's like a freaking minefield. Mate, I can understand it because I've got ADHD. If I didn't, I'd probably just be sat there dribbling. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, Chad, it's been good chatting to you, and I know Veterans Housing Group have got a lot of big things coming up, so in the future we need to get you on the podcast.
As well.
To Stevenage, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's good speaking to you, mate. Thank you. Darren from Veterans into Logistics. Obviously been on the podcast before. It's good to finally meet you face to face. Since we interviewed you, you seem to have been everywhere. TikTok, GB News, the lot. I'm starting to think that MPs actually follow you round rather than you following them round. But how's it been going? What's the update?
Yeah, it's been good, mate, and it's nice to see you. Like you said, putting out face to face, and I'm just raising the awareness to the mission that we're doing. You know, it's needed, and if I've got to go on GB News, down to Westminster, shouting off, trying to make the changes that's needed. Supporting the service leavers and the veterans into meaningful careers, because we all need employment, don't we? And that's what makes a difference to someone's life, mate.
Yeah. I heard earlier that you said that's the first time you met Al Carns, the Veterans Minister.
I've been in the same vicinity of him, but I'm not one of them people that runs up and go and shake the hand. And so I've been in the same room, but it's the first time I've actually spoke properly, and we've had a good conversation. He's listened to what I said, and you know what, he's a veteran himself, and the impression I got, he wants to make a change. Do you know what I mean? And he's told me to get in touch with him, raise the points that that we need changing, and he's going to do his best to get him changed, to make that improvement, for the service leavers and the veterans. And I think he's a man of his word. He comes across that way. Do you know what I mean? He's ex-special forces, and he told me he was a council estate kid himself, so he's working class, and he wants to make that difference himself.
That's certainly the feeling I got. I mean, when he said, and I keep making the point that actually he's been in Parliament a year, but he was in the Marines for 22. So firstly and foremost, he's a veteran first. Yep. And anyone that sort of jumps from, I mean, he was on the roll. What was he due to be 2-star general, head of special forces, and to jump from that into the Lions, then, which is Parliament, is quite incredible, right?
Well, you know what? I think we need someone like him. Do you know what I mean? And he's making a change, and I think when he walks around Parliament and he walks around Whitehall, people respect him for what he's done. Do you know what I mean? For what he's done, he served his country. He's got to the rank that he got, and he's there. And the way he spoke, some politicians just go on with themselves. You know what I mean? They just repeat themselves, but everything he said, he made sense. Do you know what I mean? And he was truthful. And there's some things that you can't change straight away. Do you know what I mean? But he wants to set that legacy. Do you know what I mean? Where he said, you can't. Once it's implemented, it's there. And you know what? He knows a lot of issues. Yeah. He wasn't deniable. He knows. Al knows there's no issues, but they've got to do the best. And changes they do need to be made. But it's working together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's working together with other veteran organisations like the Armed Forces Veterans Club with Dereck. He does a fantastic job. Chad is going to do a fantastic job. The housing group. You do what you'll do, the podcasting, but it's all working together collectively. I always say this: we're stronger as a team, we're stronger together. You know what I mean? And it's looking after our own, isn't it, mate?
Yeah. You mentioned something about the prisons, and obviously there's a lot of veterans fall into that criminal justice system. I know you were you were involved, you got into that and then managed to get out and build a successful life. And as you said earlier on, I think for veterans, for anyone actually, that employment, purpose, and veterans lose that identity and they fall into a trap. What's your plan for, or what would you like to see in terms of prisons and what can be done?
So the prisons, majority of like ex-military personnel end up in prison, and ones like come out, they struggle to transition, they don't get employment, they revert to crime to survive. Do you know what I mean? That's the majority of them. I'm one of them. Well, we can create like a veteran open prison where they identify that ex-military themselves, they get that support that they needed, where we can engage them, retrain them, so when they leave prison, they go straight into employment. That itself will reduce, it will reduce reoffending. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it can be done, and it's working together. I know Al Carns said it might be a little bit difficult, but listen, they're the government. They can make it happen, they want to make it happen. It's just working together, and it's everyone coming together, working as a team. But I think it can be done. Yeah. And I think if we created like a veterans open prison, you'd be surprised how many people in prison will put their hand up and identify that there's someone that'll serve the country, and we should give them that support that they need.
It's the thing that comes up time and time again when I speak to people. It's about that teamwork and that working together, which was paramount. It came first when we served, that we were a part of a bigger machine, and you work for your muckers next year. And if we could embed some of that in veterans, the bigger veterans charities and the veteran community in general, I think we can succeed.
And obviously I've raised the point with the LCAS, the learning credits, that bar needs to be changed, because I look at it like this: why are you putting educational barriers and preventing less academic, from using the LCAS, know what I mean? Because say we just you can only use the LCAS if he's like a certain colour, a certain race, do you know what I mean? That would be classed as racial discrimination. So why are we doing it with educational barriers? Do you know what I mean? There should be no educational barriers. If you want to go and learn it, to whatever you want to do, you want to go and become a nail technician and work in a nail bar, if that gets you a job, it's your funding, you should be able to use it on what you want. And I don't think there should be a time limit as well, because that 5 years, I spoke to a service leaver or a veteran, should I say, she had a baby. By the time she was ready to use it, because it was 5 years, it was tough. Do you know what I mean? So I think that should be changed. And you can only do so many things at once.
Yeah, exactly, mate. But keep doing what you're doing. Always a pleasure to chat to you. And I'll speak to you again soon.
What did you think of today?
He's taken the mic.
Yeah.
What did I think? So, it feels different.
Yes.
I think as veterans, we've had too many times of hearing promises and being let down. That's what we're used to. So I don't blame people for being sceptical. Yeah. And time will tell. But for me, the biggest thing he said, and I raised the question about how do we hold these local authorities accountable, because I've advocated for veterans, laid out the legislation to council housing officers, and they go, that's our decision.
They don't care, do they?
I'd like to think better of the human race that they do care, but there's a lack of money, a lack of training, lack of awareness. But for me, so I was advocating for a veteran with Watford Council, and their response was, that's our decision, that's it. And I think what Al was saying, where I'll then have a process to go to the Valor regional officer, who can go straight to him, and he can go to someone else in Parliament and say, get it sorted. I think that'll be good to see that play out, because I think at the moment it's all well and good me highlighting legislation to a council officer, but ultimately they're going, this is Stu Mendelsohn from the muster point, who cares?
So go on, Stu, what are you up to these days? What are you going to be doing?
Just keep doing what we're doing. Like, keep the muster point breakfast going every Tuesday. We've started one every second Sunday of each month. Keep advocating for veterans, keep reaching out to guys like yourself and trying to build that network of, like you say, getting that... you think the amount of faces and people that were here, and I've spoken to people and they're like, oh, don't you do that podcast? It's like, yeah. If we all came together...
Got a voice somewhere.
Yeah, fucking unbeatable, mate. Unbeatable.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed today. And it's like, it was nice, and it was Chad. It was nice for Chad to invite everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's been a good day, and I think it's like we've got to work together, and we're stronger together, aren't we? Do you know what I mean?
100%.
I think if we share our issues and if we have successes or we have failures, even with the councils, we should share them. We should embarrass them.
Yeah.
We should promote them, call them out on social media, because they don't seem to like it. Do you know what I mean? But no. Well, listen, thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy. Give me the mic back. I feel uncomfortable.
This is because you're one of ours, basically. That's how a lot of people in the veteran community, especially in the breakfast clubs, feel about you personally. Say you're one of ours. So this is kind of a gift to you for not only being one of ours, but for everything that you've achieved so far, what you've done, and how you've put yourself out there for veterans in the community, in the country. So this is a gift from the Armed Forces and Veteran Breakfast Club. Lift the middle off there. There's a replica of the death penny that they used to issue after World War I. And then no, well, it's been made for you. It's not being lacquered, and there's a reason for that, because it makes you go back to it, because you have to polish it, and there's a cloth. But being a true officer, you'll probably get somebody else to do it for you.
Thank you, Chad. And yeah, secondly, so everyone knows you've been on a pretty epic expedition recently, which has been groundbreaking, has raised incredible money for some great charities. And there was a picture that is pretty iconic. And I mean, it's going to go down in history, to be fair. So we thought we would come up with an idea on how to create something to sort of promote that, which would be almost unique to yourself. Actually, after this was commissioned, one of the lads on the team rang in to speak to the same artist to ask for something similar. So this is going to be one of 4. It's been created by Kev, who's an incredible artist. But he wanted to
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing.